I'm 32, male, work as a structural engineer in Boston. My life runs on logic and precision, but 6 months ago my fiancé looked me dead in the eye and told me my father wasn't welcome at our wedding because his cancer jokes were too embarrassing. My dad got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer 14 months before this. Doctors gave him 6 to 12 months. He was 61, former high school history teacher who spent his life making kids laugh. When the diagnosis came, he didn't fall apart. He made jokes. Dark ones. Well, at least I'll finally lose the beer gut after his first chemo left him unable to eat. Even my veins are trying to escape when the nurse couldn't find one. Some people found it uncomfortable. My mom cried at first, begged him to stop. But I got it. Humor was his armor, his way of keeping control when cancer was stealing everything else. His jokes made the nightmare bearable for me too. My fiancé didn't see it that way. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for 8 months. Wedding planned for September, 200 guests, venue overlooking the harbor, the whole thing. She was always particular about appearances, how things looked. Her parents were old money, Hamptons in summer type. My family was middle class, normal. Dad wore Hawaiian shirts to barbecues and told terrible puns. She was polite about it, but I could sense the embarrassment. When Dad got sick, she did all the right things at first. Flowers, hospital visits, sympathy. But as his condition got worse and his jokes got darker, her patience disappeared. Everything exploded at a family dinner 3 weeks before the wedding. We were at her parents' house, this pristine place with white carpets and expensive art. Dad had lost about 30 pounds by then, had that grayish chemo look, but insisted on coming because he wanted to meet the in-laws properly before I kicked the bucket. Those were his actual words walking in. Her mother went pale. Her father cleared his throat. She shot me a look that could melt steel. Dinner was painful. Dad tried keeping things light, but every joke bombed. When her mom asked how he was feeling, he said, "Oh, dying." But slowly, so there's still time to finish the wedding gift shopping. When her dad mentioned a cancer charity golf tournament, Dad said, "Maybe they'll name a hole after me. The one nobody wants to play." She excused herself twice. I could see her jaw clenching, white-knuckling her wine glass. The drive home was silent. At her apartment, she finally spoke. "We need to talk about your father." My stomach dropped. What about him? He can't come to the wedding. I actually laughed, thinking she was joking.
What?
I'm uninviting him. He's embarrassing with his cancer jokes. My family thinks he's insane. My mother called after he left, said she's never been so uncomfortable. The wedding is supposed to be elegant, beautiful, not a morbid comedy show. The room spun.
He's dying.
The jokes are how he copes. I don't care how he copes. He can cope at home. I'm not having him ruin the most important day of my life with tasteless humor. Half my family already questions why I'm marrying into your family anyway. This just proves their point. That last sentence hit different. What did you just say? She looked slightly uncomfortable but didn't back down. You know what I mean. Our families are different. Your dad showing up looking like death, making cancer jokes during cocktail hour? It's humiliating. I won't allow it. Something cold settled in my chest. He's my father. He's dying. And you want to ban him because he makes your family uncomfortable? It's not just comfort, it's respect. This wedding costs $80,000. My parents are paying for most of it. They have a right to expect a certain standard. Your father violates that. I stared at this woman I planned to marry, and suddenly, she was a stranger. So, what do you want me to tell my dying father? Tell him the guest list got cut. Tell him the venue has capacity limits. Tell him whatever. But he's not coming. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. That word echoed as I drove home, as I lay awake, as I thought about Dad making jokes in the chemo chair because it was the only way he could face what was happening. I called in sick the next morning, then called my dad. "Hey kiddo, shouldn't you be calculating load-bearing stuff or whatever you engineer types do?" "Dad, how important is it to you to be at my wedding?" Long pause. When he spoke, the joking tone was gone. "Son, watching you get married is the only thing I'm holding on for. Doctor gave me maybe 4 more months. I'm pushing for 6, so I can be there. I told him everything. Every word she said, every cruel implication. He was quiet, then said, "Son, if she can't accept me as I am right now, she'll never accept you when life gets hard. Cancer taught me one thing: you find out who people really are when things go south. She just showed you." I sat with that, then opened my laptop and started making calls. Wedding planner was shocked. "You're canceling? 3 weeks out? You'll lose all your deposits." "I don't care. Cancel everything. Venue, caterer, photographer, DJ, florist." Each call made me feel lighter. The venue coordinator actually argued with me, said this was the most ridiculous decision she'd seen in 15 years. Didn't care. She called 47 times that afternoon. Her mother called. Her father called. I blocked them temporarily, needed silence. By 6 p.m. the wedding was completely dismantled. Then I called a travel agent. 2 tickets to Ireland, first class, departing ASAP, for 3 weeks. Money is no object. Dad always wanted to go to Ireland. His grandmother emigrated from County Cork. He'd spent his life talking about walking those cliffs, visiting the old farm, drinking Guinness in a real pub. Cancer stole that dream. I was giving it back. Lost deposits totaled $38,000. Ireland trip cost another $42,000, including first-class flights, luxury hotels that could handle Dad's medical needs, private driver, emergency medical coverage. Drained my savings. Didn't think twice. Showed up at my parents' house that evening with plane tickets. Mom cried. Dad just stared. "You canceled the wedding. Because of me. Because of her. Because she showed me who she is. And because you're my dad, and we're going to Ireland." He tried arguing, said I was throwing my life away. But his eyes were shining, and when I hugged him, he held on longer than usual. She showed up at my apartment at midnight. I'd unblocked her, seen the 100 messages ranging from confused to furious. "Have you lost your mind? You canceled our wedding? Do you have any idea what you've done?"
Yeah.
I made a choice. "We can fix this, postpone, rebook everything. Your father doesn't have to come if it's such a big deal. Stop. There is no wedding. Not now, not ever. We're done." Her face cycled through shock, disbelief, rage. "You're breaking up with me because I didn't want your dying father making cancer jokes at our wedding? I'm breaking up with you because you asked me to choose between you and my dad and actually thought you'd win. Because you called my family embarrassing. Because when I said he's dying, your first thought was how it would look to your parents." She shifted to negotiation mode. "Okay, I overreacted. I was stressed. You're right, your father should be there. Let's rebook, smaller ceremony, more intimate."
No. What do you mean no?
I just said. You said what you thought I wanted to hear.
But you meant it the first time.
Every word. And I heard you. She tried crying next. Real tears. "Please, you're my whole life. I love you. I made a mistake. Some mistakes show you the truth. You showed me yours." She left after an hour of cycling through anger, tears, bargaining. I almost felt bad until I remembered your dad showing up looking like death. Next 2 days were chaos. Her mother called from a blocked number, got through, spent 20 minutes lecturing me about responsibility and how people would talk. Hung up on her. Her father showed up in my office, asked to speak privately. In the conference room, he opened his checkbook. 50,000 to restart planning? 100? Name your price, son. There's no price. I'm taking my father to Ireland. We leave Saturday. His expression hardened. You're making a mistake. My daughter is a catch. You'll never find better. Good thing I'm not looking. This meeting's over. But she wasn't done. Thursday night, 2 days before our flight, Mom called crying. She and her mother had shown up at my parents' house, both in black like attending a funeral. Told my parents I was having a breakdown, that Dad's illness made me mentally unstable, suggested I needed psychiatric evaluation. Mom told them to leave, but the damage was done. Dad heard everything from upstairs, too weak to come down. When I called her that night, I was ice cold. You went to my parents' house and called me crazy? I'm worried about you. You're not thinking clearly. Canceling our wedding, spending all your money instead of saving for our future. What future? We don't have one. We do if you stop this. My therapist says this is classic trauma response. You're watching your father die and lashing out. We can work through this in couples counseling. Listen carefully. Tomorrow, I'm getting on a plane with my father. We're going to Ireland for 3 weeks. When I get back, I don't want to hear from you again. We're done. Accept it. You'll regret this. You think you're being noble? You're being a fool. My family has connections. My father knows people at your firm. You're throwing away everything for a man who's already dead. I hung up. Friday morning, my boss called me in. Her father had called the senior partners expressing concern about my mental state, suggesting I needed time off. They were polite, said take 3 weeks personal leave, but I could read between the lines. Her family was trying to damage my career. Saturday morning, Dad and I flew to Dublin.
First class, seats that became beds.
I watched his face as we took off. He hadn't flown in 20 years. Despite everything, despite cancer eating him alive, he looked happy. This is crazy. You spent wedding money to take your old man on vacation. Best investment I ever made. He squeezed my hand. Weaker grip than before, but it was there. Ireland was everything he dreamed. We drove the Ring of Kerry, visited the old family farm in Cork, where distant cousins welcomed us like family. Drank Guinness in small pubs where old men played fiddles and nobody cared that Dad had to rest every few hours. In Galway at a pub called Tyneachtain, a local asked how he was doing. Dad was bald from chemo, thin as a rail. Obviously sick.
Dying.
But the Guinness here is so good I'm considering sticking around longer just for that. The local actually laughed and bought us both around. A man who can joke about dying is truly living. That moment justified everything. We took hundreds of photos. Dad at the cliffs of Moher, holding pints at every pub, at the family farm touching stone walls his grandmother touched a century ago. Posted some on social media to share our journey. Friends commented with support. Mom commented hearts on everything. And she saw them. Day 16, in a town called Dingle, my phone exploded with messages. Not from her directly, but from her friends, cousins, people I barely knew. Theme was consistent. I was cruel, heartless. How could I post happy vacation photos when I'd abandoned her? One from her best friend was especially nasty. You broke her heart, then rubbed salt in the wound, flaunting your little trip. She's barely eating. Her mother got her anxiety medication. All because you chose a vacation over your relationship. Blocked them all, kept posting photos. When we returned, Dad had maybe a month left. Doctors confirmed it. The trip took a lot out of him physically, but mentally, emotionally, he was at peace. I got to see Ireland with my son. I'm ready now. 3 days after we got back, she showed up at my new apartment, somehow got the address. She looked terrible. Weight loss, dark circles, shaking hands. Can we talk? I let her in, but didn't offer a seat. I've had 3 weeks to think. I realized I was completely wrong. Your father should have been at the wedding, at everything. I was cruel and selfish. I'm sorry. She sounded sincere, looked broken. Maybe 6 months ago, I would have believed her. Okay. Apology accepted. Hope flashed across her face. So we can...
No.
You apologized, I accept it. But we're still done. But I admitted I was wrong. What more do you want? Nothing. The apology doesn't change what you revealed about yourself. Doesn't erase what you said about my family. Definitely doesn't make me trust you again.
Real tears this time.
I lost my job because of this. My mother is ashamed of me. Everyone thinks I'm a monster. You lost your job? I worked at my father's firm. He fired me after you refused his money. Said I embarrassed the family by letting you slip away, that any daughter of his should be able to keep a man. Almost laughed at the irony. Her father, who tried bribing me, punished her for my decision. That's not my fault. You made your choices, I made mine.
Please.
I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, whatever you want. Just give me another chance. I walked to the door and opened it.
No.
Goodbye. You're really throwing away for years? You threw them away when you told me my dying father was embarrassing. I'm just accepting reality. Leave. She left. Never saw her again. Dad passed 7 weeks after we returned from Ireland, on a Tuesday morning in October. Hospice nurse said he went peacefully in his sleep. Mom and I were with him. At his funeral, over 300 people showed up. Former students, colleagues, friends, family. Person after person told stories about how Dad impacted their lives, made them laugh, taught them something important. During my eulogy, I talked about Ireland, about the trip that almost didn't happen, the wedding that would have prevented it, the choice that gave my father his last real joy. Dad taught me that humor in darkness isn't disrespectful, it's survival, it's courage. And people who can't understand that aren't people you want when things get hard. Few people asked about her, about the canceled wedding. Kept it simple. We weren't right for each other. Glad I figured it out when I did. 6 months later, heard through friends, she got engaged to someone else, a lawyer from her father's firm.
Felt nothing.
No jealousy, no regret, no anger. Just relief. I dodged that bullet. I'm dating someone new now. Met her at a grief support group. She lost her mother to cancer 3 years ago. When I told her about Dad's jokes, how he coped with humor, she smiled and said, "He sounds amazing. I wish I could have met him." That's the difference. That's what real support looks like. I still look at photos from Ireland sometimes. Dad's smile at the cliffs of Moher, his laugh in that Galway pub, his face when we found the family farm. Those photos cost me a relationship, savings, deposits, probably some professional reputation. Best money I ever spent. If you believe family comes before pretentious in-laws and that life's too short for people who can't handle a good cancer joke, hit that subscribe button. My dad would have made a joke about clickbait here, but sadly, I didn't inherit his comedic timing.